Author's Note of Tales of Unrest. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Tales of Unrest by Joseph Conrad. Author's Note. Of the 5 stories in this volume, The Lagoon, the last in order, is the earliest in date. It is the first short story I ever wrote, and marks, in a manner of speaking, the end of my first phase, the Malaysian phase, with its special subject and its verbal suggestions. Conceived in the same mood which produced Almayer's Folly and An Outcast of the Island, it is told in the same breath, with what was left of it, that is, after the end of An Outcast, seen with the same vision, rendered in the same method, if such a thing as method did then exist in my conscious relation to this new adventure of writing for print. I doubt it very much. One does one's work first and theorizes about it afterwards. It is a very amusing and egotistical occupation of no use whatever to anyone, and just as likely as not to lead to false conclusions. Anybody can see that between the last paragraph of An Outcast and the first of The Lagoon there has been no change of pen, figuratively speaking. It happened also to be literally true. It was the same pen, a common steel pen. Having been charged with a certain lack of emotional faculty, I am glad to be able to say that on one occasion at least I did give way to a sentimental impulse. I thought the pen had been a good pen, and that it had done enough for me, and so, with the idea of keeping it for a sort of memento, on which I could look later with tender eyes, I put it into my waistcoat pocket. Afterwards it used to turn up in all sorts of places, at the bottom of small drawers, among my studs and cardboard boxes, till at last it found permanent rest in a large wooden bowl containing some loose keys, bits of sealing wax, bits of string, small broken chains, a few buttons, and similar minute wreckage that washes out of a man's life into such receptacles. I would catch sight of it from time to time with a distinct feeling of satisfaction, till one day I perceived with horror that there were 2 old pens in there. How the other pen found its way into the bowl instead of the fireplace or waste-paper basket I can't imagine, but there the 2 were, lying side by side, both encrusted with ink and completely indistinguishable from each other. It was very distressing, but being determined not to share my sentiment between the 2 pens, or run the risk of sentimentalizing over a mere stranger, I threw them both out of the window into a flower-bed, which strikes me now as a poetical grave for the remnants of one's past. But the tale remained. It was first fixed in print in the Cornhill Magazine, being my first appearance in a serial of any kind, and I have lived long enough to see it guyed most agreeably by Mr. Max Beerbohm in a volume of parodies entitled A Christmas.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?